a salutation, so I'm kind of late to this as always. When am I not? But my birthday was on Saturday. It is now Tuesday, and I like to do birthday Q&As. I like to do Q&As, and I just use my birthday as an excuse to do one without feeling like I'm too lazy about it because it's my birthday. You can't be mean. I asked on my community tab and on Instagram if you guys had any questions, so we'll answer some of my favorites right now. What are some books that I would recommend? My main recommendation is, like, I haven't seen many people talk about this. I read it in January of this year, completely like changed my brain. I have been meaning to reread it, but I've been through like a massive heartbreak since then and I just haven't been up to it. But Out of Love by Hazel Hayes, it recently got a new US release with an extra chapter, so I need to like rebuy it so I can get the extra chapter. It's one of the most beautiful, heartbreaking novels I've read ever. So Out of Love by Hazel Hayes. Also always going to recommend The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo forever. I also yesterday read The Love Hypothesis. I got it for my birthday. A little bit skeptical on whether or not I would like it because I don't like Raylo, but it was the most fun I've had reading something for a while. It obviously reads like fan fiction because it used to be, but that is a high praise from me. So The Love Hypothesis too, if you want something cheesy and cute. Which of Taylor's re-recordings are you anticipating the most, songs or albums? Obviously Red as the album is my number one. That's my favorite Taylor album of all time. Songs, I'm really excited for all the Vault tracks, just all of them. Last Kiss on Speak Now TV, Dear John on Speak Now TV, just all my favorite songs. Long Live on Speak Now TV, Babe and Better Man, I'm really, really excited for. The Last Time, I'm really excited for. The Lucky One, I think is gonna fucking floor me, like hearing Taylor sing that after 2016, but I'm really excited for all of them, honestly. It's just all my favorite songs. Obviously call it what you want eventually, like all my favorite songs. What is one thing 3 of your favorite characters each taught you, and what do you admire from each of them? Thank you for asking this. This is one of my favorite questions ever. This is my kind of question. Rapunzel taught me that I can still be strong and powerful and chase my dreams while remaining curious and kind and adventurous and like a little like clumsy and all over the place and energetic and a little childish too. I can remain hopeful and wide-eyed and maybe a little naive while following my dreams and still be powerful and strong and still achieve those dreams along the way. I don't have to sacrifice those traits about myself. I can also chase my dreams no matter how far-fetched or childish they may seem to other people, or even if people tell me I can't. Annabeth Chase taught me to stand my ground, that I don't have to necessarily run away from everything, that I am worthy of a place at the table. I am worthy of putting my foot down and being assertive, and yes, maybe I can be a bit too competitive or a bit too prideful, but I am smart and I am worthy of acknowledging that intelligence and making sure that people don't underestimate me. And Wanda Maximoff taught me that I'm not defined by my pain and my pain doesn't diminish any of my power. How do you feel about Nico and Will going to Tartarus? I knew I was going to get this question. I'm really excited to get Nico and Will content, particularly Nico. I think it's fucking time enough that we actually get some good character development and a character study for Nico. I'm a little bothered that Nico and Will being like the first real like LGBT couple we saw at the forefront in the Ridenverse and like a fan favorite like LGBT ship in the Ridenverse. I'm a little annoyed that they're getting like leftover Percy stuff. We've already seen a ship go through Tartarus and we saw the straight ship do it first. You know, I love Orpheus and Eurydice, they're my favorite Greek myth, but we've already had like Orpheus and Eurydice parallels with Perciveth. Can we not find something new to give Nico and Will, especially considering the importance of them being the first like prominent LGBT couple? What scenes from the Disney Plus PJ show are you most excited for? The siren scene. I've always wanted to see the siren scene, was very upset that it wasn't in the Sea Monsters movie. It's just something I've wanted to see since I was a kid. Yeah, the siren scene. I don't know why. I just really want to see the siren scene. What was the first fandom you ever joined? Technically Taylor Swift, if we're not counting Taylor Swift, I think it was Glee. What's my favorite piece of merch I have? I kind of assume that you mean Taylor Swift merch. My cardigan, my Sis the End of All the Endings blanket, either of my necklaces with her initials on it, so the wax seal one for the Reputation era, or the Vault Key one, or the Red photo book, that's what it's called. What are some of your comfort characters or people? So my comfort person is Taylor Swift for always. It's just her. Comfort characters, my biggest ones are Peter Parker, Percy Jackson, Annabeth Chase, Rapunzel, Harley Quinn. I'd probably say my biggest ones. Also like Pam Beasley. Speak Now or Fearless? Speak Now. My favorite Olivia Rodrigo song, One Step Forward, Three Steps Back. Being an Annabeth Kinney, what song do you think resonates with her most? I think Flaws by Bastille or The Archer by Taylor Swift. What's your favorite Star Wars movie and who is your favorite Star Wars character? Movie is Empire Strikes Back and character is probably Ahsoka, if not Leia or R2-D2. What are your top 3 favorite musicals? The Lightning Thief, Rent. Oh my god, no. The Lightning Thief, Hades Town, and Rent. Honorary mention to the guy who didn't like musicals though. I'd Lie or Battle. Both of them are very important to me. Battle is like a very, very important personal song though. So like I'd Lie is cute and a Percy anthem, but Battle is like hits. So Battle. What's my favorite Taylor Swift song? It's Call It What You Want. Thank you for asking. What's your comfort show? Any sitcom, like genuinely any sitcom, or Tangled the series? Any advice for using nerdy things as a release catharsis, self-art, therapy type thing? I don't necessarily know if I have like advice for it. I do use it as like a catharsis type thing. When it comes to like cosplay, for example, I like to cosplay characters that I really relate to, often my biggest kins. So I kind of am able to create cosplay content for those characters that are accurate to those characters, but I create content for scenarios that really I feel are parallel to my own life or traumas that they have that reminds me of my own. And so working through them in character, in cosplay, can kind of act as a type of therapy for me to kind of tap into those traumas without necessarily tapping into my own, kind of working through them in context of the character, which makes it a little bit more approachable. So that's kind of the best way that I do it. If you're able to channel it through like a D&D campaign or through cosplay itself or through fan art, I think kind of it's easier to deal with our kind of emotions and release them when they're not necessarily us releasing them ourselves. If we can channel them through characters, I think that makes it a little bit easier. So I guess that's my advice. That was probably garbage, I'm so sorry. What's your hot drink order? Depends on the day. It's usually like a vanilla almond latte. It's generally my go-to. If I can't have caffeine, I just love any kind of hot chocolate. Just wondering, but how are you doing, love? That's very nice of you to ask. Not the greatest, but I don't want to dwell on that and have another breakdown on here. How big is your book collection? I mean, this is maybe, you can see maybe half of my bookshelves, and then I have a giant stack of them to the side that don't fit on my shelves, and I have another tiny little bookshelf in my room with mostly comics on it, but still. So it's like, I wouldn't say it's huge, but it's like, it's a decent size. Like it's more than an average person, but like it's not big in terms of like a reader's bookshelf. Like I don't think I have a massive book collection in terms of readers, but definitely more than an average human. If you could change one thing about any of the Ride and Verse series, what would it be? I would like to have delved into Annabeth's family trauma a little bit more, particularly in Titan's Curse. There's a moment in Titan's Curse I really wish we expanded on, which is her kind of questioning whether or not the trauma she remembers from her young childhood is accurate anymore, because her dad showing up to save her was cool, and Percy says that her stepmom was really nice to them, and she ends up like questioning the validity of her own trauma that she faced as a child. And I wish we delved into that more. I wish that was more explored, because I think that's a very, very common thing, particularly with childhood trauma, is sometimes we grow and those relationships improve, but then we question whether or not our interpretation of what happened when we were younger and the traumas that we faced when we were younger are valid. And I think that would have been a really interesting kind of thing to look into more with Annabeth's character, but it's never brought up again. How's Percy Catson? Thank you for asking. He's great. He's currently napping. He's doing all right. He was a bit stressed on the weekend because he doesn't like strangers. Not that my friends are strangers, he's met them all before, but like he doesn't like people coming over, and I had some friends over at my apartment, so that was stressful for him. But besides that, he's grand. Character you most want to cosplay but haven't yet? I have a whole list. There's 1,000 variations of Harley that I want to do really bad that I haven't cosplayed yet. Clara Oswald, particularly in The Snowman, kind of barmaid Victorian Clara. Black Cat from Marvel Comics. Yeah, I think the main ones are like other versions of Harley, Black Cat, Starlight from The Boys, and Clara Oswald. Fearless OG or re-recording? Obviously re-recording. Marry me? Of course, my love. Spare hand in marriage right now, come on. What was my favorite subject in school? English and drama. What would you and your friend group cosplay as? Bold of you to assume that I have a friend group. I have friends, but they're kind of like, we're not really a group, and none of them cosplay, so I would need to get some friends who would be cosplayers first. So if any cosplayers want to be my friends, please hit me up. I really want some cosplay friends. When are you coming to Disney Florida? As soon as I can and I have the money. As soon as I am able to when I have the money. It's a dream. All I have to live for. What's your favorite Taylor Swift era? So my favorite album is Red, and my favorite like fashion aesthetic is Red, but my favorite like era as a whole is Rep. Like Reputation. It's weird, I know. Favorite date you've been on? I feel like I've never actually been on a successful date, to be honest. So like, I don't know. I've been on some nice ones, but I feel like I've always made a clown of myself. Like I've been on a lot of ice skating dates, which are very embarrassing, or I've been on dates where I've played board games with people and gotten like way too into it, or I just always feel like I've been like a clown. So I don't know that any of my dates have been successful ever. How have the first few days of being 20 been? Are you still iffy, or does it feel good now? Still very iffy is a nice way to put it. I've been very unstable about it and really not having a good time in my brain about it. Hopefully that fades, but it's It's still not great. Thank you for asking though, that's very kind to question. What did you want to be as a kid? A paleontologist. And then it changed into an actress, and that's still here, but paleontologist was my main thing from ages of like 6 to 10. How many Funko Pops do you have? I actually don't know the answer to that question. Last time I counted it was just over 100, but that was quite a few Funko Pops ago, so I'm gonna guess like 110. What does your dream home look like / have in it? If I can live in like a little cabin somewhere, that's the ultimate dream. I don't know if that'll ever be a reality where I live though. I want lots of bookcases. I want a bookcase big enough to justify me having a sliding ladder. I want just a lot of little nerdy things around the place. That's pretty much my only criteria. Lots of cat stuff for Mr. Percy, because he deserves the best. What are 3 words you hope people would use to describe you? Kind is the main thing. Creative and understanding or compassionate. What does an average day in the life of Ashlee Tayla look like? It's very boring. I wake up, I feed my cat, I put on makeup, I get dressed. I usually go and buy a coffee if I have money to. I come back to my apartment and I generally will film for a bit most days, unless I'm really not doing great in my head. I'll try to see friends, but I don't that often, so like that depends on the day. I'll edit for a couple hours most days, and I'll read a lot, and then I'll watch some Critical Role, and I'll hang out with my cat. My life lately has been quite sad and lonely, I'm not gonna lie to you. Would you cosplay a character you knew nothing about, only in recommendation? I don't know that I would cosplay a character I knew nothing about. I would take a recommendation, research a character, and then cosplay them though, but I wouldn't cosplay them unless I had done the research prior to it. What are your top 5 Percy songs? Find My Way Back to You, Mine, It's Nice to Have a Friend, You Are in Love, True Love by Pink. Taylor songs that most remind you of Annabeth Chase. The main one is The Archer, for sure. Mad Woman a little bit as well, The Man a little bit as well, but mostly The Archer. In the Percy Jackson movies, is there something in particular you wanted that they didn't include? Yes, the siren scene. Ideal date. I don't know that I have one. It depends on how well I know the person. I've always said that I would love to go to a bookstore and pick out a book for each other on a date, like get coffee, go to a bookstore, walk around somewhere. Anything where you're actually like talking and getting to know each other, I think is the best. I wouldn't do a movie because like then I'm not actually getting to know the person, or a concert, wouldn't really do that. I have an eating disorder, so like large meals are kind of intimidating, and I don't really like eating a lot around people I'm not comfortable with. So like coffee, and then like walking around, getting to know each other, doing an activity together, or just going for a stroll, going to a bookstore, something that you have in common. That's the ideal date, I think. What are some comic books that we should read to prepare us for Phase 4? Depends what specific movie. I'm not familiar with every Phase 4 property we're getting. For example, I don't know anything about the Eternals. I feel like reading up on Young Avengers is gonna come into play a lot, so I'd recommend Young Avengers, 1, because I just love it, but 2, I do think we're getting some stuff about that. If you didn't read House of M for WandaVision, I still feel like it might come into play for Multiverse of Madness, so maybe House of M still. Just read up on Kate Bishop stuff because it's great. Before Hawkeye, I just love Kate Bishop. Read up on Ms. Marvel before the Marvels and her series, because that's also one of my favorite comic series. Read Secret Wars before the show. Do you love being a Disney princess or daughter of Athena the most? Oh, both of them make me happier, far happier than like being myself, but like I do have a Disney princess complex, so maybe being a Disney princess, because I feel like the Disney princess side of me is my better traits, and then the daughter of Athena are like maybe my worst traits a little bit, but yeah. What Disney movie would I like to voice act and recreate? Tangled, of course, Tangled. What's your favorite song from Tangled the series? Thank you so much for asking. Crossing the Line. I believe in crossing the line supremacy. I'm a crossing the line stand first and human being second. Yeah, thank you for asking about Tangled the series. What Taylor Swift song would you do a music video to? Honestly, maybe The Last Time. That's a very, very personal song for me, and I have a very clear kind of vision in my brain of what that music video could be. Technically got a music video, but I don't really count it. It was just them performing it on tour. Okay, I've been filming for a hot minute, so I'm gonna stop there, but thank you so much to everyone who sent in questions. Thank you to everyone who wished me a happy birthday. I know that I had a little moment about it, and I've been having a little moment about it, but the wishes were very, very kind, and they helped, so thank you for doing that. I love you so much. I love you so much. I just want you to know that. Extra special thank you to my Sith Lords on Patreon, Darby, Liam, Kyra, and James. Thank you guys, and thank you so much to everyone watching right now. I love you so freaking much, and I'll see you very soon. Mwah. Oh my god, am I insane, or from that angle do I kind of look like Victoria Pedretti? I absolutely do not. Me just being like, am I hot? Absolutely not, Ashlee.